Today, we are going to be looking at American Horror Story. More like American Horrible Story. Got him. This is kind of like my Game of Thrones video because I really liked Game of Thrones and it really sucked making that video. And I also really liked American Horror Story. This one season though, it's awful. Oh my God, it's so bad. American Horror Story is legitimately terrible now. And this is coming from someone who once enjoyed the show. I didn't think it was the greatest thing on earth, but it was fun, you know? The acting was good, the twists were fun. It was just a fun show before. And now it's a stupid show. I will probably make some hardcore fans really mad at me in this video. So I'm sorry, but just hear me out, okay? Before we get into the main course, here's some little appetizers for you. This is what I thought of all the seasons prior to this one. Just to be clear, it's been a while since I've seen some of these seasons, so I might not be remembering them all correctly. And feel free to let me know your opinions of these seasons in the comments down below, because I know you're going to do that anyway, and I'm probably wrong about something in this video, so please let me know what I'm wrong about.
Hey, Elvis, your opinions suck. This is why. Yeah.
Opinion time. No, but for real, it's fine. I think it's fun seeing all these people tell me what they think about a certain thing. Because ultimately, that's why I'm doing this. You know, it's a discussion. If the discussion was me saying something, you replying, and then me never saying anything back. I liked Murder House. I thought it was fun. I loved Asylum. I don't know why, I just remember really liking it, for whatever reason. Thought it had an interesting story. The characters were good, the acting was good, it kept me engaged the entire time. I thought Coven was pretty good. I started to get bored about halfway through, but I think it's still a solid season. Freak Show is excellent, at least for like the first 5 episodes. And then it plummets drastically. I'm not sure which episode it is, but once Twisty the Clown died, the season died with him. They introduce a new bad guy and it's just like, why? You could have just kept Twisty till the end because he was literally the only interesting thing about that season. I guess the writers didn't know that, so Hotel starts out pretty good, but then the third act is extremely boring. And I felt like there were a lot of moments in that season that were just kind of dumb. I'm not sure if this is an unpopular opinion or anything, but I kind of liked Roanoke. I thought it was a clever take on the whole reality show thing. Thought it was pretty good. Cult, I thought, was a little bit too heavy-handed with its politics, and then it becomes super predictable. It's basically the tale of like a modern-day Charles Manson if he had blue hair and he really liked Trump. And as for Apocalypse, wow, the show had its up and downs, you know, but this season went so far down that it went to visit Satan. And I'm not even joking. This season is about Satan. Let me get the one thing that I liked about Apocalypse out of the way. The acting, for the most part, was pretty decent. For the most part, there are some scenes that make me want to drag my teeth across concrete, but, you know, for the most part. I haven't seen this newest season, 1984 yet, but if it's anything like Apocalypse, I just don't care about this show anymore. And it's a damn shame, because they had some pretty creative ideas in the past. Apocalypse is so weird because it comes across like a love letter to all of the American Horror Story fanatics out there. If the letter just had a bunch of references to better seasons, and it was covered in shit, then yeah, that's what you get. That's what Apocalypse is. If you haven't seen any of the other seasons, then Apocalypse is definitely not the season to start watching, or to watch at all, in my opinion. And it's not even like the Star Wars thing. You know how like The Force Awakens was basically A New Hope, but just a new version for the new generation? Well, Apocalypse didn't really copy any of its previous work. Instead, they take the characters from previous seasons and they try desperately to kind of like piece some of them together in order to form this new season. And it doesn't work at all, because all of the previous seasons, you can watch them by themselves and they'll make sense by themselves. They're all standalone. Yes, some of them have little Easter eggs here and there, being like, oh, hey, remember this season? That was a pretty good season. Remember this one? Like the clown doll from Cult. But they never really did like a full crossover until now. And I definitely think they shouldn't have done that. The first episode is called The End, which is kind of ironic because it probably should have ended here. I don't care enough to remember these characters' names, and it's kind of funny because the show doesn't care about these characters either, and they proved that like 3 episodes in, but I'm getting ahead of myself. So I'll be giving these characters my own names. So it starts with this woman getting a haircut. I'm just gonna call her Barb. That's the shortened version of Barbara, by the way. I just feel like she looks like a Barb. I don't know. And she's getting her haircut done by Gay Fieri. A warning comes up on Barb's phone telling her that there's an inbound missile crisis.
What the fuck?
No, it's bullshit.
Barb says, oh, it's probably just a hoax, but then her dad FaceTimes her and tells her it's real. And when she's talking to her family, she holds her phone out at arm's length, which doesn't look very comfortable. Hey mom, yeah, okay, yep. Who holds their phone like this? No one. That's who. Her dad says, your mother and I love you very much. But then this guy comes into frame.
Wish we could be together again, but it's too late.
He just kind of came out of nowhere. And he doesn't look very concerned about his imminent death. Instead, he looks like he has a stomach ache. So her dad tells her that there are 4 spots available for them in this underground bunker somewhere that he paid for, just in case of a disaster. Thanks, Dad. And he's giving them all to her because it's too late for them. Then you hear the bomb go off and they die. Barb doesn't really seem to care that she just watched her family get eviscerated, which is, I don't know, that's kind of strange. I think most people, like even Hitler, would care if they watched their family get blown up, but not Barb. So then Barb, her assistant, Gay Fieri, and his grandma all go to the airport. You would assume that the airport would be mobbed with people right now, that the traffic would be absolutely insane if people found out that there were bombs heading towards them. Most people would be trying to fly out of there, but they get there just fine, so that's kind of weird. I mean, yeah, they do run into someone, but the cracked windshield didn't seem to impede their driving at all. And apparently people are just killing each other on the streets, because that's what people would do if they had like 5 minutes left to live. Barb's random boyfriend was left behind, and she has no soul, so she calls him up and she's like, yeah, I'm just gonna break up with you. Sorry, let's go. And they all fly away. And then we get this random scene of like these men in black snatching up this guy because he has good genetic makeup for survival, whatever that means. And they know about this because he gave his DNA to an ancestry website. Okay, then I guess that works. And apparently the men in black could only snatch up 2 people. I'm just gonna call them Jeff and Jess. It seems to me this whole ancestry.com scheme wasn't all that worth it if you just got 2 people out of it. So they bring Jeff and Jess to this underground bunker where all the other people are. So then they meet this woman named Willavina Venable.
I'm Wilhelmina Venable. Welcome to Outpost 3.
What is it, Russian? Asgardian? What is that? What a nightmare her life must be when she has to give her name to like a customer service representative somewhere. Hello, my computer isn't working. I'm calling because I need to get it fixed. Yeah, sure. Can I get your name? Yeah, it's Wilhelmina Venable. What? So this underground bunker is called Outpost 3. It's a bomb shelter that was once a subterranean boys' school. So right away, that doesn't make any goddamn sense. We find out later that it was actually an underground school for warlocks.
The cooperative to whom we owe our eternal gratitude took ownership and converted it once they realized what was coming.
You'd assume that if this whole operation was funded by the 1%, that they would just build their own bomb shelters instead of relying on a random underground school. But that doesn't matter. Let's keep going. So there's this group called the Cooperative. Basically, it's just a group of the world's elites, the smartest people on Earth and the richest people on Earth.
The cooperative is not made up of nations or armies. It's a collection of the dozen greatest minds mankind has to offer.
It's basically just the Illuminati. And they only managed to salvage like 10 people in this outpost. I guess that's all it can hold. I don't know, it looks pretty big to me. Most of whom are narcissistic and stupid, one of which is an elderly woman. I guess these people got in because they could pay for it and it was really expensive. So ultimately what you get is a bunch of really entitled people because they're all rich, and then Jeff and Jess. And they don't use electricity in Outpost 3 because technology bad.
Technology is what destroyed the world. Social media gave people the illusion they were equal. But that's all been swept away.
Willavina Venable says that social media tricks people into thinking that they're all equal when they're not. When in fact, social media does the opposite. Social media gives people a glimpse into the lives of thousands of strangers, a lot of them being very talented and better than you. Social media is very good at making people feel inadequate not equal. In this outpost, there are 3 levels of hierarchy. The grays, or the worker bees / slaves. The purples, or the nobility. And then there's the cooperative, and they wear black. But they don't call themselves the blacks, because I'm guessing that would not be appropriate. So then Jeff sees the number 666 written out on a mirror. I guess this is foreshadowing the satanic butt fucking that is about to happen to this series.
For $100 million a ticket, I expect goddamn Gordon Ramsay in the kitchen cooking us real food.
Finally, some good fucking food.
This cooperative lady, I'm just gonna call her Grumpy, because she almost always plays the grumpy one in this show. The group's sitting down having dinner, and she tells them that there has been a radiation spike in the room that they're sitting in. Whatever the fuck that means.
Radioactive contamination is a grave risk to our entire community.
So she takes Gay Fieri and this other random gay dude, hoses them down, and then kills this random gay guy.
Dirty.
And it turns out that she killed him not because he's radioactive, but because she's evil.
How did you manage it? Stew in the Geiger counter.
Easy. Set the sensitivity to 10, you can make anyone sound like Chernobyl.
And then we find out later that she's a robot, so why did she kill him? Is it an evil robot? Was this the Terminator? I can understand a human killing another human randomly. You know, they can be crazy. Maybe they have like this lust for power or something. I don't know, but this is a robot. She's just like, I feel like it. Human bad. Turns out that Willie and Grumpy aren't abiding by the rules that the cooperative had set for them. They're just doing their own thing. And apparently Wilhelmina Menemal is power hungry and she doesn't like men and whatever.
I'm just doing my best with the mess men made of things.
So then for shits and giggles or whatever, Wilhelmina Menemal and Grumpy feed stew in a stew to the rest of the group. This random gay guy, yeah, his name was Stu. They cooked him and put him in a stew. I'm guessing just because they're both called Stu.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh,
The stew is stew. They also find these random snakes. They kill them and serve them for dinner, but then they come to life again. Ooh, spooky. No explanation why. I'm guessing just because Satan likes snakes for some reason. Snakes make an appearance in this show here and there. I guess wherever Satan's involved, there's snakes. But I don't get why you kill a snake, it'll just come back. Maybe Satan doesn't like when snakes die, so he's like, okay, they're alive again. So 18 months pass and they all start bickering about how they're running out of food. But somehow they still have makeup and lip gloss. The cooperative had weird priorities, it looks like. So this random man from the cooperative shows up outside of Outpost 3.
I need to speak to Miss Venable.
In a horse-drawn carriage. That's kind of weird. How are these horses alive? They stated earlier that this nuclear winter came and finished off everything that was alive.
Nuclear winter came, and it finished off anything the bombs had left alive.
They must have kept the horses in another outpost with them. Do they have an underground farm? Look at this dude. He's very cute. He even made sure to put some makeup on before going to Outpost 3. You know, you gotta look good for the apocalypse. He kind of looks like a bi-curious, like, rock singer from the 80s or something. He kind of looks like Axl Rose. Not fat Axl Rose, young Axl Rose. He kind of reminds me of the lead singer from The Darkness. The only difference is this guy doesn't believe in a thing called love. His real name is Michael Langdon, but that's kind of boring. So I'm just gonna call him The Darkness, because in this show, he's like the spawn of Satan or something. So Darkness tells the occupants of Outpost 3 that he's there to bring someone back to this place called the Sanctuary.
This one's completely impregnable and stocked with enough supplies to last a decade.
You're here to take us there.
I've been assigned to evaluate the people here and select the ones most worthy of survival.
Because all of the other outposts are being overrun, and he's going around trying to find people to save. But how are these outposts getting overrun if there's nothing left on the surface? Then Darkness starts to interview all the occupants. We get to learn about their lives before the apocalypse, but it doesn't matter. Gay Fieri bones some random guy in a leather suit. He has no idea who it is, but I guess he's horny or something. Jeff and Jess sneak into the Darkness's room when he's not there, and they find his laptop. And apparently he's able to send emails to the other people of the cooperative with this laptop underground when there's no electricity after the apocalypse. Okay then, I guess he can control the internet with his wizarding powers.
What?
I'm struggling here. Help me out here, writers. Help me out here, please. This scene would have worked so much better if they just found a notebook that he's been writing in, because then it would kind of make sense. And apparently the mysterious man in the leather suit is Spider-Man. Jeff and Jess find out through the Darkness's laptop that Grumpy and Wilhelmina Minimal haven't been following the rules. So then we get a scene of Wilhelmina Minimal and the Darkness talking in a room. The Darkness is like, we know what you're doing. You're not that special, blah, blah, blah. And then we find out she has a fucked up spine.
Part of your cooperation includes a physical examination.
You can read my file.
Your file won't show me what I need to see.
Yeah, she has scoliosis. For literally no reason in this show. One of the rules that Grumpy and Wilhelmina Minimal set was no sex under punishment of death. So if you bone someone, they're killing you. Sounds like a great place to spend the rest of your life. So then Jeff and Jess are caught sleeping in the same bed together. They did have sex, but Grumpy and Wilhelmina Minimal have no way of knowing this, so I guess they just kind of assumed. Is cuddling against the rules too? Do you get killed for cuddling? They don't have any proof, so that's kind of messed up. And they definitely don't have security cameras. So the Darkness is really mean to Gay Fieri, and Gay Fieri thought that the guy in the leather suit was the Darkness, and then the Darkness said it wasn't him. So then Gay Fieri finds the guy in the leather suit. They're about to have sex, and he thinks it's the Darkness, so he stabs him to death, only to wake up out of nowhere and find out that it's his grandma.
Uh-oh.
But they told us like 100 times that he hates his grandma. And his grandma hates him, like they literally hate each other's guts. I mean, yeah, it sucks killing her like this, but who cares? There's no police. You're not going to jail. And she was really old anyway. I guess it's just for like the shock factor. Jess and Jeff are about to be executed for cuddling, but then they fight back. Jeff shoots Grumpy, and that's when we find out that she's a machine. And that's when she finds out that she's a machine as well. Darkness interviews the rest of the occupants. We learn more and more about them and their desires and their flaws. We find out that Barb's random assistant girl with boner hair has superpowers.
Let me go.
Don't be afraid, Mallory. I'm offering you a chance to live.
I said, let me go!
She's like a witch or something. And then we learn that the Darkness also has superpowers, and it has something to do with Satan. He's a Satan worshiper warlock. The show then tries to make us sympathize with Grumpy the cyborg by showing us her implanted memories of her fake childhood.
I remember all those moments in the most minute detail.
But like literally no one cares. No one asked for that, but show us anyway, I guess. Remember Barb's boyfriend from the first episode? Yeah, you probably don't, but he's back now. Now he looks like this. He survived. This whole time he's been outside, he's just survived.
Look, I'm just trying to find my girlfriend. We got separated back in LA when everything went to hell. I've been on her trail for about a year now.
He's been out there for more than a year. Even though he was in the same area that his girlfriend was in when the blast went off, you could even see the bomb, so I'm pretty sure he would definitely be dead by now.
Apples. Why would the cooperative send a carriage with apples?
And then a box full of apples is delivered to Outpost 3 via another horse-drawn carriage.
Get out of the carriage! Show yourself!
And there's no driver. It just got there magically. I mean, yeah, the Darkness probably did it with his magic powers, but it's still so dumb. Barb's boyfriend somehow got underneath this carriage and rode it to the destination. I mean, at first I thought he killed the rider, but if he didn't kill the rider, how'd he get underneath the carriage? One of the blacks go outside, he kills one of them and gets inside. I don't know who that person was. Probably one of the guards that we just never got introduced to. Wilhelmina Minimal and Grumpy bake up this plan to kill everyone, including the Darkness, by poisoning the apples and holding a Halloween party. So all these people will eat the apples and kill themselves.
We will have a Halloween soiree.
And later on, we're supposed to believe that the Darkness had all this planned out, that he knew that Willie and Grumpy would want to do this, so he had the apples delivered, and then he made them poison everyone.
Did you enjoy executing the poison apple's plan as much as I enjoyed coming up with it?
You wanted everyone dead.
I've never been a fan of getting my hands dirty.
It shows him as this like demigod almost. He's so powerful that he can do anything to anyone. He can kill witches like in an instant. So why would he have any trouble killing these people himself? Was he just like trolling them? Was this fun for him? Was he just like, oh, I'm gonna do all this random stuff for fun? Like, I'm gonna use my magic to have apples delivered to this outpost because I know that these two people will poison everyone, instead of just killing them all myself in an instant. Like, why would he go through all the trouble? He's probably just really bored. So Barb's boyfriend infiltrates this party with a mask. Barb thinks it's the darkness for whatever reason, so they go into this room.
Oh my God, Brock! How the fuck did you get in here? What happened to your face?
Radioactive fallout?
The guy takes off the mask and he's like, hey, it's me, you dumb bitch. I'm here to kill you. Stab, stab, stab. Now you're dead. So he kills Barb, and then all the other occupants that we spent this entire time learning about die by eating apples. And then Wilhelmina Minimal dies because darkness forces Grumpy with his superpowers to shoot Wilhelmina Minimal. So then everyone's dead, except for Grumpy 3PO and Darkness. Grumpy and Darkness have this connection because when the Darkness was growing up, his guardian looked like this grumpy robot thing. So he wanted her to live. So then 3 witches from the coven come out of nowhere and resurrect 3 of the occupants. And the rest of the show, no joke, is about what leads up to this point. They go all the way back in time to Murder House, the first season. Remember when the Satan spawn child was born and he killed someone, and that's when the season ended and it was like, oh my God, that's so crazy that a child would kill someone. Well, they just had to expand on that, and they did it in the worst way by combining all these different seasons. We find out that Michael Langdon, or the Darkness or whatever, is a Satan spawn, and he did all this evil stuff when he was growing up. He went to this warlock school and they taught him stuff, and then there's this whole thing with the witches from the coven, and then he becomes the new Supreme because he's super powerful, and the witches are like, oh, but we're more powerful than warlocks. And then the warlocks are like, but not this guy, he's more powerful than you. He's gonna be the new Supreme. And then the witches are like, oh, no way, he's gonna go through this test. They put him through a test, and nope, he's the new Supreme now. Then they slowly find out that he's a Satan spawn, and he does evil things. They don't want to put Satan in a position of power, but they already did, so they're all screwed. And then the show just kind of like fumbles around trying to make sense of what they're doing. Like, they even have a callback to Hotel because they have to do something with this random witch that died there.
Who the hell are you?
My name is Michael Langdon, and I'm here to do for you what your Supreme couldn't.
I don't even know why they did that, because she doesn't really serve a purpose in the show, aside from just being there. Like, oh, she's here. Why? Who knows? I guess the Supreme Witch Lady wanted to get as many witches as she could to help fight against the Darkness, but it didn't end up working. The Darkness just, like, goes in and kills them all anyway. So that's a lot of lead up to nothing. Now, don't get me wrong. I appreciate that the writers are trying to expand on the lore of the show. And I kind of like that all the seasons take place in the same universe. But they link them up in the worst way. And in a show like this, when every single season can stand alone, when randomly you make it so you have to watch a previous season to understand this current season, it kind of throws off the whole groove of the show, and it makes it super messy. Because these seasons that were not supposed to make sense together are now randomly supposed to. So then you have these writers trying their best to be like, so this happens to this, and then this happens to this because of this, and then from this season you can take this character and then put it in this, and it becomes a huge shit omelet. They're trying to make an omelet, but they're like, oop, uh-oh, oh shit, who put the poop in the omelet? It was the writers shit in the omelet. I like the idea of using Michael Langdon in this show. I do. I think it's creative, but the way that they did it is just awful. They start this show by establishing all these characters, And as someone who has watched the previous seasons, you're getting ready to invest yourself in these characters. You're expecting them to grow and learn things over time. You're expecting things to happen to them over the course of the show. I was expecting to see the sanctuary. I was expecting to see other outposts. What was the outside world like? That would be kind of cool. You know, what actually did happen, instead of telling us one thing and showing us another. But instead, they introduce these characters, show the apocalypse, and then kill off all the characters, and then go back in time, and then try and get us invested in this new character that comes out of nowhere. I was already interested in what was happening to these other characters, but now they're all dead. So why do I care about this new character? Give me a reason why. Because he did some spooky thing in a room with his face? Oh, we find out he's from a previous season. Oh, now I care. Haha, remember that one time when that thing happened to this character and this... You can't establish a bunch of characters and then kill them all off 3 episodes later and expect me to be just as invested in the show as I was before. It's not only confusing, because some of these characters have the same actor, and I know that this is a reoccurring thing that happens in American Horror Story. An actor will play multiple roles, and it works most of the time. But now imagine a new season that's combining other seasons when this new season has those same actors and actresses. So now you're pulling other characters that these other actors have already played, and you're plopping them into this new season when they're playing another character. You have Sarah Paulson playing 3 roles. Evan Peters then plays a 4th role later on in the season. Oh my God, it's just so much. These people are good at acting, but the writers are fucking it. They are fucking the series. I just found it so weird that they made it absolutely necessary for you to watch 3 previous seasons in order to understand this new one, when none of the other seasons were like that. That'd be like if Black Mirror made a new episode and they were like, all right, let's take the 2 guys from Striking Vipers and put them in the USS Callister and see how they would survive, you know, in the computer world, you know, if they were stuck there forever doing their sex thing. And let's not explain at all where these characters are from. So if you watch this new one and you haven't seen the other ones, you'll be completely confused. It's brilliant. If they absolutely had to introduce all these characters and then kill them off right away, they should have done it in the first episode. They should have introduced them all, had them do all this stuff, don't even bother with their backstories, just have them all die off right away. And then go ahead with your whole witches and warlock shenanigans. Because if you kill them off right away, then you have the viewer being like, whoa, so we're doing that. All these people that you just showed me are dead. Okay, what's gonna happen next? Because then you're not really invested in these characters yet, and it's not that big of a deal, you know, to go to episode 2, get introduced to new characters, and have the story keep going. And then you can kind of like roll back into the first one later on. Don't bother teaching me about the relationship between this gay kid and his self-serving, homophobic grandma if you're just gonna kill them both off. And then they randomly put in Stevie Nicks as like this witch that comes out of nowhere and sings a song, and then she leaves for the rest of the show. There was absolutely no reason for her to be in the show, but she is, for some reason. And the song is so awkward, and it's not even a good song. And then they do this thing when they're trying to piece together all these different seasons by telling us that Michael Langdon aged 10 years overnight just because he's the spawn of Satan.
It was almost as if he was in a hurry to get somewhere, age-wise. You know what I mean?
They don't explain why. It just happens because magic. She wakes up the next morning and he's like a full-grown adult. It's very, very dumb. And it's just a way for them to like piece together the actresses and their ages. And why go through all the effort to try and make this work when it doesn't work? It doesn't work. They even say it perfectly in the show.
If something isn't working, it's best to just cut the cord.
More than half of this entire season is just backstory and exposition and just explaining a bunch of bullshit to the audience to try and connect these previous seasons. It's so dumb. And they included the word douche nozzle in the script. I'm not joking. The word douche nozzle was included in this script.
Just because we have a president who's a total douche nozzle.
Any script with the word douche nozzle in it is automatically a failure. I'm sorry. In episode 9, they send a witch back in time, but they're afraid that she might die. But early in the show, the main witch brought back to life these other witches. So if she died, you could just bring her back. So here's where we get to the meat and the potatoes of the show. The apocalypse. How did it happen? The big question. Well, here's how it happened. The Darkness, or Michael Langdon, was somehow able to convince the elites of the world to just send the nukes. Just shoot nukes all over the world. End the world. He convinced them to do this. Because apparently in this illogical universe, all the elites of the world are Satanists. So they all automatically just agree with him because he says that he's the spawn of Satan. What? They just agree with him? They're like, oh, okay. So dumb. And they do this whole thing where Michael Langdon like meets up with all these Satanist people in this church, this Satanist church, and they all accept that he's the Antichrist. You know, he's the one that's going to bring about the end times, just because he has like a scar, like a 666 scar behind his ear.
Behold. The mark of the beast.
What? In this day and age, anybody can fake anything. There's no fucking way. That's what I'm trying to say. There's no fucking way that these people would just agree to destroy the world because of this guy. I'm sorry. And it's not like he like burned one of them alive in front of the others or anything. It's not like he forced them to do it. He just kind of shows up and they're like, yeah, let's do it. Fuck it. I don't care. Destroy the world. So the witches end up killing Michael Langdon in the dumbest way possible. So one of the witches shoots him and he dies. But then Satan is like, lol, no, and brings him back. Okay, so he's alive again. So their trump card is to use a spell to bring one of the witches back in time in order to kill Michael Langdon before he becomes super powerful. So she goes back into the past, runs him over with the car, and then he dies. But why didn't Satan bring him back this time? I don't get it. If Satan brought him back before, why didn't he bring him back then, too? He's like the controller of hell. Wouldn't he go to hell? Why wouldn't Satan just be like, I thought what they were going to do, you know, in order to stop Satan from bringing him back, I thought that woman would bring him into the murder house, you know, to trap his soul in there because it's like an evil house. And that way, Satan couldn't bring him back. So he'd be trapped in the murder house forever. But she didn't bring him to the house.
Go to hell.
So I guess Satan just doesn't like younger version of Michael Langdon. He likes the older version. The older version is worth bringing back, but not the younger one. So they spend this entire show wrapping up loose ends, you know, taking this season and this season and this season and this season and wrapping them together in order to do something with this baby from Murder House, because we have to do something with this baby from Murder House for whatever reason. So they do all that. They make this shit show called Apocalypse. And then at the end, in this new reality without Michael Langdon, Satan just has Jeff and Jess make a different Satan spawn. They have a baby, and it's the new Satan spawn. But why though? If it's this easy for Satan to get an Antichrist, why didn't he just make another one? Why doesn't he make 50? Why does it matter who they are, you know? Why does it have to be Jeff and Jess? They seem pretty random to me. What, because they gave their saliva to this website? Is that why? I don't get it. I don't get it. This season was just unbelievably stupid. And that's it, I guess. That's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. If I made any mistakes, please make sure to correct me in the comments, because I know that I did somewhere. I always make a mistake. I'm just one guy, okay? I try and watch a show and I try to absorb it best I can. I write a script and everything, but I'm sure that there's something that I missed. They must have explained something in like the fine print. They must have said something that like flew right over my head or something. Who is he? Her brother?
Her mother and brother are here with me.
But anyway, that's gonna do it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. We just released a new season of Alien Clothing. Season 6. 6-6. Hell yeah, you can get shirts like this. Isn't it cool? I really like this shirt. I think it's pretty cool. And there's a bunch of other shirts over there too. I'm gonna quickly show you guys the trailer for the new season. It's only a minute long, so here you go. thank you so much for watching. I really hope that they never try and do this again in American Horror Story. Hopefully the next season is better. Hopefully. And the most bizarre thing is that the reviews for Apocalypse are pretty good. 75% on the tomato meter, 78% audience score. I know it's not perfect, but wow, people just don't care if their television is flawed as fuck. Here are some of the amazing reviews. One giant celebration of the series, one moment after the next, giving me chills. Wow, your expectations are staggeringly low. American Horror Story Apocalypse is a gift to the show's longtime fans. You can say that again, and it's a spit in the face to anyone that hasn't seen the other seasons. Even if the primary pleasures of Apocalypse turn out to be based in pure nostalgia, I'm okay with that, weirdly enough. I really miss loving this show. Okay, I kind of agree with that review. The humor kills, the cast is game, and Kathy Bates is absolutely slaying her neo-goth look. Yeah, that's what makes the show good. The neo-goth looks. The cast is game? What the hell does that even mean? Alright guys, that will do it. Thank you so much for watching. I'm slowly chugging through watching all of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure for People Ruin JoJo. The show is long as fuck, but I don't want to make the video until I get all the references and whatever. If there are any movies or shows or whatever you guys would like me to review, put them in the comment section down below. Go subscribe to Alien Bacon, my new channel with Bionic Pig, because we're doing daily videos over there, and I know sometimes it takes a while for me to put out a video over here, so that's some good filler content, if you will. Go subscribe, please. And thank you so much to all my patrons, because this video is probably demonetized. Thanks, Susan! But you guys are keeping this channel alive, so thank you. Seriously, thank you. I'm gonna go pass out now. See you later.